Hi guys, it's Tasha. Recently I've had a few friends ask me for recommendations on what book you should read if you haven't really read anything in a while. So I thought, why not do top 10 books that to get you back into reading. Whether you've never really read much at all, or if you just haven't read anything for a long time and you don't really know what's out there anymore. I think there's a bit of something for everyone. So hopefully one of the books in my pile might intrigue you. At number 10, we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is the first book in the Miss Peregrines trilogy. And in some ways it's got kind of a complex story. It's got time travel, children with superpowers, and evil monsters, to put it all briefly. But I found it's a really fast read. It just kind of sucks you in completely, and before you know it, you're done with the book. And they've got some photographs in it, which are not only pretty creepy, but they break the book up a bit. Also, I think if you want to read something a bit creepier for Halloween, maybe, this is probably the best one on this list to do that with. At number 9, I have Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, and it's a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella, and it's got cyborgs, people from the moon, all sorts in it. And yeah, I find it really interesting take on the original fairy tale, and every book in the series so far has just been getting better and better. The fourth book, Winter, is coming out next month, I think on the 4th of November, but I could be wrong. And that one's based on Snow White. I am absolutely dying to read it, but Amber is getting it for me for Christmas, so I have to wait until then. Kill me now. And at number 8, we have The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. I'm not really sure how you actually say her surname, but all of her books I have really enjoyed. I think she's an amazing writer, but I think this is possibly the easiest to get into. Plus, I think it was the first book by her I ever actually read. And this book is about fairies, and like how technology and iron is kind of creeping over into the fairy world, and it's starting to corrupt and infect it all. Hugely interesting read. It's also quite fun and entertaining. One thing I find interesting is 3 of the characters are Tatiana, Oberon and Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream, and you've got Queen Mab, all sorts in here. And yeah, I really love this series. I've only read the first 3 books, and I am dying to read the 4th. For some reason, I haven't even bought it yet, so I'm hoping I will buy it soon. And number 7, we have Geek Girl by Holly Smale. This is the first book in the Geek Girl series. It's been a long time since I read this. I think we're looking about a year or 2, so I can't fully remember exactly what it's about, but as far as I can remember, like the biggest nerd in the school gets a modelling contract, and yeah, I remember it was quite a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and there are a few obscure facts in there, so you learn a bit while you're reading it. I think this is also very good because the writing isn't the smallest, and there are lots of lists and things, so it's quite a variable way to read it, and it just makes it a really fast read. And number 6, we have Switched by Amanda Hocking. This is book 1 in the Trill trilogy. I haven't read this book in a while, so I've sort of forgotten what it's about, but I know it's about changelings, and like there's a love, royalty, a really cool fantasy world. and I just really enjoyed this series. I might have to reread it soon because I want to read, I think, the Canaan Chronicles, I think they're called, which is a spin-off from this series, which I hope to get to soon. Number 5, we have The Selection by Kira Cass. This is the first book in the Selection series, and it's basically like a dystopic book version of The Bachelor. I don't really actually like The Bachelor, but this book was interesting, fun, a really, really fast, easy read, and I really just generally enjoyed it. Number 4, we have Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is a love story between a couple of misfits at a school, and yeah, it's a really sweet story. At times it's really sad, and the ending, I find you either you love it or you hate it, but I'm one of the few who liked it. I'm not going to obviously go into details, but I found it was quite so it teaches you a bit of sort of about life, if that makes sense, but again, you have to read it to know what I'm on about. Number 3, I have To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I can't remember what the series is, but it's a duology, and the second book is P.S. I Love You. It's by Jenny Han. Now, basically, this girl writing love letters to all the boys she's ever had a crush on or she's loved, and one day, mysteriously, the letters get out, and so she has to deal with all these guys knowing how she felt about them. Super awkward, but it was a really light, funny read, and I loved it. Number 2, we have The Undomesticated Goddess by Sophie Kinsella. Basically, this one, a top London lawyer makes a mistake involving a huge amount of money, and she runs away and accidentally gets a job as a cleaner. How anyone manages to do that is beyond me, but she managed it. And yeah, this book was absolutely hilarious, and like the way she gets so out of her depth in her lies and stuff makes you feel so awkward along with her. And again, it's just such a fun ride. I love Sophie Kinsella. I think this might have been the first book by her I ever read. It was that or Shopaholic Abroad. Basically, any of this woman's books will probably get you into it because they're all so fun, easy, quick, silly reads. They're great. And number 1, we have Angus Songs of Full Frontal Snogging by Louise Renison. Now, this is the first book in the Georgia Nicholson series. I don't really know what the series is called, but there's 10 books, and basically it's just the diaries of a teenage girl. So you're with her as she deals with all the struggles of relationships with friends and families, her changing body as she's getting older, and discovering boys. There's some parts that are quite cringeworthy, but on the whole it's really funny and you so relate to her, and I just generally really enjoyed this book. And all of them, I can't even remember how old I was when I first read this. I think I was about 9, maybe 10, but I've read it a couple of times since then, and it's enjoyable every single time I've read it, really. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found something that you might fancy reading.